Segment 1, the crucible of conflict, Agincourt to Grenada. Welcome to Kleppers Corner, the only history show where medieval diarrhea, Cold War politics, and Microsoft product launches all somehow end up in the same family tree. Today we open on October 25th, 1415, Agincourt. Henry V, dysentery-riddled and armed mostly with longbows and God's PR department, beats the numerically superior French. The field's so muddy, the French cavalry basically auditioned for Swan Lake and quicksand. Henry picks terrain better than a real estate agent on HGTV. And like every good war story, centuries later, Shakespeare turns it into motivational theater. The King's Band of Brothers speech, corporate PowerPoint gold. You can't get through a startup retreat without someone quoting it between trust falls. Never mind that the real band smelled like trench stew and gastrointestinal regret. Flash forward to 1854, the charge of the Light Brigade. Imagine being ordered down a valley where every cannon in Crimea screams, "Bad idea." A miscommunication so bad it makes your group chat drama look strategic. 600 cavalrymen ride straight into Russian artillery because one guy pointed in the wrong direction. It's the Victorian version of replying all. Tennyson polishes this catastrophe into poetry so rousing, people forget it was a traffic accident with horses. Proof that in Britain, failure plus rhyme equals patriotism. Then 1944, Battle of Leyte Gulf, largest naval fight ever. Think Fast and Furious, but everyone's in battleships and nobody's family survives. Japan's Navy is basically deleted like an old MySpace account. American carriers prove air power rules the seas. The lesson? Whoever controls the sky wins, unless it's a Spirit Airlines flight. Jump to 1983, Reagan's invasion of Grenada. A tiny island wakes up to find the U.S. Marines, who apparently came to rescue medical students from communism, or maybe just from finals week. It's called Operation Urgent Fury, which sounds like a Mountain Dew flavor. The war lasts shorter than a Netflix binge, but lets America yell, "We're back, baby," after Vietnam's hangover. From Henry V to Reagan, the through line is clear. If your battle is dumb or glorious enough, someone will turn it into poetry, a movie, or at least a Call of Duty DLC. Segment 2, the reshaping of nations, power, ideology, and illusion. October 25th is also the Monarchy and Manifesto Day. Start with 1760. George III takes the throne. He's Britain's first Hanoverian, who actually sounds British and immediately says, "I glory in the name of Britain." Translation, please like me. Within 16 years, 13 colonies decide they've had enough glory and dump him like a bad Tinder date. The irony? The king who wanted to be the people's monarch becomes the villain in Hamilton. "You'll be back," he sings, and spoiler alert, he won't. Jump to 1936, Rome-Berlin axis. Hitler and Mussolini formalized the original toxic bromance. They claim Europe will revolve around their axis. Yeah, that's what my high school lab partner said before blowing up the Bunsen burner. It's the handshake that guarantees a world war. From there, everything spirals. Spain burns, Austria vanishes, and democracy takes a long nap. It's like forming a band called Peace and immediately touring with Apocalypse. Then 1945, retrocession of Taiwan. Japan surrenders the island to China. Everyone signs something, and half the world says, "Welcome home," while the other half whispers, "Define home." Fast forward 80 years, and the debate still rages harder than a Reddit comment section. One ceremony, two realities. Proof that sovereignty is mostly who's holding the microphone when the press conference starts. Power, it turns out, isn't just land or armies, it's narrative. Kings lose colonies, dictators lose wars, and yet each writes a story where they somehow win the moral of the tale. Every October 25th, somebody somewhere grabs history's pen and says, "My turn." Segment 3, the architects of culture, Chaucer and Picasso. Now let's swap swords for syllables. October 25th, 1400. Geoffrey Chaucer dies, leaving behind the Canterbury Tales, the medieval road trip comedy where everyone overshares on the way to Canterbury. He's the first guy to say, maybe we write literature in English instead of French. Revolutionary. He gave peasants punchlines and the English language a swagger. Without Chaucer, there's no Shakespeare, no J.K. Rowling, and no drunk guy quoting "One that Aprila with his Shora Suta" at Renaissance fairs. Cut to 1881. Picasso is born in Malaga. By 13, he paints better than your phone's portrait mode. By 26, he's inventing Cubism, which says, why look at a face from one angle when you can have 6 and nightmares? Les Demoiselles d'Avignon horrifies art critics and inspires every college dorm poster since. Later comes Guernica, where he turns bombing horror into a black and white scream so powerful, dictators banned it. Chaucer builds a language. Picasso breaks vision itself. One says, let's make English beautiful. The other says, let's make beauty confusing. And that, friends, is progress. Also, both prove that to be immortal in culture, you either have to invent new words or new ways to ruin art students' sleep schedules. Segment 4, the engines of change, time, tech, and justice. October 25th isn't all wars and poets. Sometimes it's tech support for humanity. In 1960, the first electronic watch hits New York. Suddenly, your wrist doesn't tick, it hums. Quartz beats gears. Accuracy beats artistry. And Switzerland goes from horological heaven to economic uh-oh. The quartz crisis proves progress is a home invasion. It shows up with batteries and a smile, then takes your job. Still, without it, we'd all be late for Zoom calls we hate. Then 2001, Microsoft launches Windows XP. The XP stood for experience, as in the experience of installing updates forever. It gives us the Luna theme, the Bliss wallpaper, and the illusion our computers actually like us. For a decade, the world runs on that blue-green hill. Then Microsoft ends support in 2014, and half the planet says no thanks, we're good. The result? Hackers everywhere get their Christmas early. It's like leaving your front door open because you're nostalgic about the hinges. Rewind to 1940. Benjamin O. Davis Sr. becomes the first black general in U.S. Army history. 1 star against a galaxy of segregation. He breaks through a brass ceiling so thick you could use it as tank armor. FDR's White House gets to say, look, progress, while the military still keeps separate latrines. But Davis opens the door that Truman will later kick wide open in '48. He's proof that representation matters even when it's lonely. History moves because somebody has to salute first. Progress, whether courts, XP, or civil rights, always comes with patch notes. You fix one bug and introduce 3 more. But hey, that's human software for you. In conclusion, a day of paradoxes. So what does October 25th teach us? That history is less a timeline and more a group chat with no moderator. It's mud and myth, crowns and code. On this day, we get both Chaucer's last chapter and Picasso's first sketch. A king's coronation and an empire's downfall. A watch that beats mechanics and a general who beats racism by existing in uniform. We see how battles turn into poems, how tyrants brand alliances as peace, and how software updates our lives whether we click accept or not. Every date on the calendar is a tug-of-war between meaning and memory. October 25th just happens to show its hand better than most. It's a day where long bows, quartz crystals, and royal delusions all conspire to remind us that humanity is brilliantly messy. And maybe that's why we keep telling these stories, to find pattern in the chaos, comedy in the tragedy, and occasionally a firmware update for our collective soul. That's Today in History, October 25th, where every century brings its own oops, all consequences. See you next time on Kleppers Corner, the show that proves the past is never dead, is just waiting for better Wi-Fi.